Hello there guys, and welcome back to another epic Inexorable maths video. In this video we take a look at modelling with straight lines. So just like we did that video about modelling with quadratic equations, we're going to be looking at straight lines. So arguably this could be a bit easier because we've already done this with quadratics, which obviously, you know, it's kind of by design, quadratics tend to be more complicated than straight lines. But we're going to nonetheless take a look at what we've got here. So this is a question that I definitely didn't take from a textbook and change some words from. I totally made this question up all by myself, and that's why I know that it's definitely 3 marks, because no textbook has told me how many marks. I wonder how, oh, mysterious. Ooh, I don't know what's going on. Anyways, right. Okay, so a video game designer, not a website designer, no, a video game designer, charges a flat fee and then a daily rate in order to design new games for companies. Company A's new game takes 6 days and they're charged £7,100. Company B's new game takes 13 days and they're charged £9,550. Write an equation linking days, D, and game cost, C, in the form C equals AD plus B. So for the record, A and B are constants, whereas C and D are not. So C and D are our variables. So basically C here is filling in for our Y and D is filling in for our X, okay? So think of D as X, think of C as Y. So this is in the form Y equals, and A is what, guys, think about what is A? This is like, let me just sort of show you what I mean. This is in the form Y equals like AX plus B, yeah? A is in the place where like M would be for gradient. So A is going to be the gradient, isn't it? We can already tell that. And B is going to be the y-intercept. So even though things are like different letters, you know, like, well, why isn't it in the form, why isn't it like this? Why isn't it in the form Y equals MX plus C? It actually is. It's in the form C equals AD plus B, but that means the same thing. You need to interpret it. That's where these exam question marks come from. It's from you understanding what on earth are they going on about when they give you a bunch of letters that you don't typically see in the equation of a straight line. That's what it's about. That's where you get your 3 marks from, okay? So how do we even go about this? Seriously, guys, the way that we do this is not too difficult. You might think, well, where do I even start? Normally, these sorts of questions, they basically just turn into a simultaneous equation. And we should know how to do that because I've already got some videos out on it. So, all right, let's just do this. All we have to do, guys, is plug things in. What do we know? Okay, let's look at Company A's new game. It takes 6 days, well, that's D already, and they're charged £7,100, so that's C. So over here, I'm going to say, guys, I'm going to fill in what I know. C is 7,100, so 7,100 is equal, and I don't know what A is, but it's A times, and D is the number of days, which is 6. And that's going to be plus B. Again, I don't know what B is. We want to find what A and B are. That's literally that's the question. Find out what A and B are and put them in here. You don't need to find out what C and D are because they're given. They won't move from the equation. Just like how X and Y always stay in the equation, Y equals MX plus C. In this case, capital C and D are going to stay there. We just want to know what A and B are. That's an equation already. We know that this equation is true for some values of A and B. So in other words, 7,100 is equal to 6 times A, 6A, plus B. Now, of course, that's impossible to solve without you knowing one of them already or having another equation to fall back on, which is where this whole simultaneous equation business comes from. Make sure you're really good at simultaneous equations because this is the typical way that you solve these things. So the next thing is we have another grouping, we have another pair of information. We have got 13 days and 9550. So again, guys, let's just chuck that in. So we know that C, the cost, is 9550. 9550 is equal to A. And this time it's not 6, it's 13. 13 is going to be where our D is, plus B, okay? What we're basically doing is we're putting in coordinates on a graph, we're putting them in, and we're going to figure out what A is, because A and B, because A and B have to be the same in both of these equations. They have to be the same because they're on the same straight line. So we can essentially now have a simultaneous equation. So this, what I've written here, is 9,550 is equal to 13A plus B. Okay? So now, just below it, I'm going to rewrite both of these. 7,100 equals 6A plus B. That's going to be our equation 1, because this is now going to just be a simultaneous equation issue. I'm actually going to put a line here to separate. We're now just going to be looking below the line. And also 9,550 is equal to 13A plus B. That is our equation 2. Now we can solve this. We can solve this for A and B. Now guys, you can do whatever you want. You know, you can do elimination, you can do substitution, you can do whatever you want. I think that we should probably do elimination for this one, because I'm noticing that if we take one away from the other one, then we'll end up with a B minus B, and then those B's will cancel out. So I think that we should do that. I'm going to just grab the calculator as well, because I can see this getting a little bit messy. So let's do equation. I'm noticing that in equation 2, we've got a bigger number here than here, and we've actually got a bigger number here than here. We've got a 13A and a 6A. So I think we should do equation 2, take away equation 1, because then that's going to keep everything positive, which I want. So I actually shouldn't be saying that in the ages of COVID, but you know, everything is going to be a positive number. I like positive numbers. So we're going to do equation 2 minus equation 1, basically, which ends up being 9,550 minus 7,100, 9,550 minus 7,100, which is 2,450. So we get 2,450 is equal to 13A minus 6A. So it's going to be 7A, and then B minus B is 0, and that's it. And isn't that lovely? Because then all we do is we take that, we take our 2,450, we divide it by 7, because we want A on its own, and nicely we get A is equal to 350. Beautiful. That's A. A is 350. So 7A is 2,450, which means that just A is, let's divide both sides by 7, we get the 350. That's where the 350 has come from. If you're confused about the simultaneous equation stuff, I've got numerous, I think I've got about maybe 5 or 6 videos on simultaneous equations, okay? So if we know what A is, we can know what B is, because all we need to do is substitute our A value into one of these equations. It's totally your choice which one you do. They will give you the same answer. Just because I'm feeling like it, I will use equation 2. But if you want, you can use equation 1, and you can see and make sure that you get the same answer. You will get the same answer if you use equation 1. It doesn't matter which one you use, just use the one that's easier. Both of these look more or less the exact same easiness, so you can just choose whichever one's your favourite. I'll use equation 2. So 9,550 is equal to 13 times A, which is 350 now that we know that, plus B. Okay? And now guys, we just need to solve for B. So all we do is we do 9,550 minus, and then 13 times 350 is 4,550. And that's equal to B. So what I did is I took away this term here. I took it and I brought it onto this side. And I also simplified 13 times 350. That's actually the same thing as 4,550. So I took it away, and then I stopped all of this brackets nonsense, and I just wrote it as a number, okay? So that's all I did. And then B reveals itself, 9,550 minus 4,550. Oh, of course, yeah, that's 5,000. So B is 5,000. Okay, that's it, that's the answer. So the way that you would write this as your actual answer is you would say C, that doesn't actually change, that's your Y, you know, you don't want to replace that, is equal to, A, which is 350, that we know that. D, again, that is part of the answer. That's basically our X equivalent. And then it's plus B, and B is 5,000. So plus 5,000, just like that. That is our equation for this, basically the charge that this game designer charges people, okay? It's, the cost of it is 350 times the number of days that this game designer works on the game, plus 5 grand. Just doesn't matter what, you could do it for one, you're just gonna add 5 grand on the end of it, okay? That's it. And I'm not gonna speak too much about it because actually the next part of this question, which I haven't written down yet, is going to be interpreting the values here of A and B. So we're gonna look at that in a second. Okay guys, so we're actually now going to, as a second part of this question, we've already achieved 3 marks for ourselves. So what is this? This is a further 2 marks, interpreting the values of A and B. So presumably it's going to be 1 mark for telling the examiner what you think A represents and what B represents. So this is not the number that they are, but actually what they mean in the real world sense. That's the whole point. We're literally talking about modeling. So this is our equation. I haven't rubbed that off. So just, we've made some room, but that's still there. So remember, A is 350. So it's 350D. So let's just think about what A represents. What's the significance of this 350? Well, it means, if you actually think about it, and again, this could be just, practice, it means that every day the cost is going to increase by £350. Day 1, it's 350 plus 5,000. Day 2, it's 2 lots of 350 plus 5,000. Day 3, it's 3 lots of 350 plus 5,000. Every day it increases by 350, which means I'm not going to write it, but essentially A would represent essentially this person's daily rate, the amount of money that they charge for every day that they are developing this game. B is the 5,000. And the answer there is just, again, these are 1 mark each. It's not particularly challenging. The 5,000 is the flat rate. So you could be hiring this guy for a day, 10 days, 6 months. You've just got to pay 5 grand straight up. Just there you go. And then you have to pay an additional £350 every day that this person is developing a game. But the flat rate to start with is 5 grand, and that's the significance of the B. Okay guys, this is the last part of the question, and this is going to be worth 1 mark, just 1 mark it seems. I think that's a bit steep, but 1 mark. The question is, the designer charges a company £13,400. How many days did it take him? Okay, so that's essentially what we need to work out. So instead of being told information about number of days, charge, because we already know the value of A and B, we actually can solve this without too much of an issue. So we're going to come up here and do it. We're going to start from up here, okay? So guys, we just need to substitute things into our formula, which we're still using. So this is going to be cost C, 13,400. That's going to be equal to 350 times the number of days. But we're looking for the number of days. That's literally what we're trying to find. So we're looking for the number of days. So we can just keep that at the moment as 350D. We want basically to find out what D is. And the 5,000, that never changes. That's always just 5,000. And look at that. We have an equation with just one unknown. It's just D. If we can rearrange this equation to get D on its own, that will be the answer. That will give us the number of days that it took. So we just do 13,400 minus 5,000. And so then we get 8,400 is equal to 350D, okay? Because we just took 5,000 away from both sides. And then to get D on its own, we're going to divide both sides by 350 because we don't want 350D, we want 1D. So we need to make both sides 350 times smaller. So just dividing both sides by 350, we get the very nice number d is equal to 24, which means the answer is that it took this game designer 24 days for this game to be designed, and it cost £13,400. So if you want to get a game designer and you have £13,400 to spare, then maybe this guy will work for you for 24 days. And that's it. So this was 3 marks, 2 marks, and 1 mark. So this is a 6 mark in total, and essentially that's all we have to do. So you get a lot of questions a lot like this. They'll give you information. It will normally result in a simultaneous equation that you need to solve. That's where the marks come from. So of course, it's always a really good idea to make sure you're practicing simultaneous equations. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you'd like to see more stuff like this, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.